This is the M1 Mac Mini, Apple's least expensive computer. And for $699, it's amazing. Now, for those of you that don't know, what makes M1 such a big deal is it's Apple's own chip. Forever, they've been using Intel chips in their computers. In 2020, they released the first M1 or Apple Silicon versions, like this guy over here. Very similar to how your phone works, where Apple makes the chip that's in the phone, which makes it super quick. Everything's super optimized for it. It just flows together nicely. Now that happens in a computer, and it makes a huge difference. Now, I got the base model for mine, so that's 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. I'd say for probably 85 to 90% of use cases, the base model is totally fine. I was able to do both video and photo editing on it with pretty much no issues. Let's talk performance. The speed of this thing is unreal. On Apple.com, they say it's 3.4 times faster than last generation's model of Mac Mini. 100% believe that. I'm coming from a 2015 MacBook Pro, 8 gigabytes of RAM in that, and an Intel i5. When I would edit videos, not even in 4K all the time, in 1080p from the Canon M50, for a 3-minute video, I would go to export it and I would literally leave the house, go to the gym, go to the grocery store, come back, put the groceries away, check the computer, and maybe it's almost done exporting. With the M1 Mac Mini, I'd click export. If it's a 3-ish minute video, it would usually take less than 2 minutes and 20 seconds to export. Crazy, the difference in speed. And remember, this is the base model, and it's able to knock out everything. Now, once I upgraded to the Sony a7 IV for my videos, and I started shooting a lot more 4K, putting files on top of each other, adding titles, adding color grading, things like that, the computer still handled it 95% of the time with no issues. The 5% of the time that it didn't handle it with no issues, it wasn't like it was slow. It was just, instead of something clicking it and it being instant, it would maybe take 3 to 5 seconds for something to change. Where, again, back on the Intel computer, it would be minutes if I was waiting for something to render. So, not a huge difference. It's just I got used to stuff being instant, and instead it was 3 to 5 seconds. So I upgraded to a MacBook Pro now with 16 gigs of RAM, but again, for 85-90% of people, 8 gigs, 256 is plenty. One of the cool things that the M1 does is if it needs more RAM, it can borrow it from your storage temporarily. So basically, it takes from the 256, which is the storage size, it gives it to the 8 gigabytes of RAM to turn that 8 gigs into 16 instead. It works temporarily, doesn't last forever, but it does give it that performance boost that it needs to get the job done. Now, what I really like about the Mac Mini, one is the size. It's less than 8 inches, so it's super small, easy to fit somewhere. Some desk setups, they have it under the desk. You also have pretty good port selection on there. You have your 2 USB-Cs, which are also Thunderbolt 4, so super quick. And it's the only Apple computer that still has a USB port. It's actually got 2 of them. You also have your headphone jack, your Ethernet cable, and your HDMI output. So it's got a good mix. The only thing that it's really missing is your SD card slot, which meant I had to buy an adapter in order to get that SD card slot. Now, since this computer doesn't come with any accessories, it doesn't come with a mouse, doesn't come with a keyboard, that is something you have to buy separately. I 100% recommend the Logitech versions of the mouse and keyboard. The MX Master Mouse is excellent. I use this all the time. You can customize the buttons. You can tell it, so if I'm in Final Cut, this is copy, this is cut, whatever you need to do. You can change it on here. And then Logitech's MX Master keys. So this is made to work with the Mac, works super smooth. I like the backlit keyboard on here. For those of you that like mechanical keyboards, Keychron makes a great keyboard. I actually have a video comparing it. It's right now my most popular video on the channel. You'll also need to buy a monitor. Now, I ended up using a bunch of different I change my setup way too often. I actually have to do an update on the setup coming up. But I've used a 4K Samsung monitor. I've used ultra wide. I've used both at the same time. The Mac Mini can actually support multiple displays. The MacBook Air can't do that, and the 13-inch Pro, I'm pretty sure, can't do that either. Speed-wise, this thing is insanely fast. Pretty much no matter what you're upgrading from, you'll notice a massive speed difference with the M1 Mac Mini. For $699, this thing is a deal. It's faster than pretty much anything else in its price point on the market. Unless you're doing multiple streams of 4K video editing with titles, with plugins, with color grading, it's going to be plenty of speed for you. And even if you are doing that kind of editing, it's still able to handle it. I'll have links below for the Mac Mini, for any of the accessories that I mentioned. And if you are interested in a MacBook Pro, at the time that I'm actually publishing this, there's a few that are on a really, really good sale, so those will be down there too. If you like videos like this, definitely subscribe. I'm putting out more stuff consistently. I'm growing this channel. I want to know what you guys want to see. I like doing Apple and camera stuff, so if that's what you like to see, click it up.